Chapter 16, 15. 6 months after Mike's funeral, the house on Fort Bragg had settled into a fragile new rhythm. The calendar on the kitchen wall still held Mike's photo, pinned to the month he died, but the edges had started to curl from humidity and time. No one took it down. No one added a new one either. It was Cassidy's real 15th birthday. Late April. Carolina spring had arrived in earnest. Dogwoods blooming white along the street, air thick with pollen and the promise of heat. The kitchen smelled like pancakes and bacon again. Daniel stood at the stove in faded grey PT shorts and a black t-shirt, flipping strips with the same steady rhythm he'd always had. Eleanor sat at the table sipping coffee, watching him like she still couldn't quite believe he was here every morning. Cassidy came downstairs in her hoodie and jeans, hair in a loose braid. She stopped in the doorway. Daniel turned, saw her, smiled, small, real, the first unforced one in months. "Morning, birthday girl." Cassidy blinked. "You remembered. Hard to forget." He slid a plate toward her. 3 pancakes, 4 strips of bacon, syrup already poured. "Sit, eat, before it gets cold." She sat. Elena reached over, squeezed her hand. 15, Eleanor said softly. "Feels like yesterday you were stealing bacon off your dad's plate." Cassidy gave a small laugh. "Still do." Daniel snorted, set his own plate down, sat across from her. "Not today. Today you get your own." They ate in easy silence for a while. The kind that didn't need filling. The kind that had come back slowly, piece by piece over the last 6 months. When the plates were mostly empty, Daniel leaned back, cleared his throat. "Got something for you two." Cassidy looked up. He reached under the table, pulled out 2 small wrapped boxes. Plain brown paper, no bows, just their names in his block handwriting. He handed one to Eleanor first. "For you." Eleanor tore the paper carefully. Inside, a thin silver bracelet, simple with a small engraved disc. E.M., always my home. She looked up, eyes shining. Daniel shrugged, almost shy. "Figured you deserved something that wasn't dog tags." Eleanor slipped it on. "It's perfect." Then he slid the other box to Cassidy. She opened it slowly. Inside, a new fixed blade knife, drop point, matte black, paracord wrapped handle in olive green. The sheath was black leather, small engraved plate on the front. CM15, always sharp, always ready. Cassidy stared at it, thumb traced the letters. Daniel watched her. "Folder's good for every day. This one's for when you need something that won't fold on you." She looked up, eyes bright. "Thanks, Dad." He nodded once. "Rules are the same. Don't tell your mom I gave it to you." Eleanor rolled her eyes. "I'm right here." Daniel's mouth twitched. "Then don't tell her I told you not to tell her." Cassidy laughed. Real, soft, slid the knife out, tested the edge with her thumb, sharp enough to shave hair. Eleanor reached over, touched the sheath. "It's beautiful." Daniel shrugged. Figured she earned it. Cassidy resheathed it, clipped it beside the compass on her belt loop. The weight felt right. Daniel took a slow breath, looked between them. "There's something else," he said. Eleanor set her mug down. Cassidy went still. "I got orders," Daniel continued. "Reassigned. Training division. I'm an instructor now. SOF Schoolhouse. Right here on post. No more deployments. Not for the foreseeable future. I'll be teaching small unit tactics, CQB. Survival. Kids coming through the pipeline." Elena's eyes filled instantly. She didn't try to hide it. "You're staying?" Daniel nodded. "Permanent. Desk and range time. Home every night." Cassidy felt something loosen in her chest, small, fragile, but real. Eleanor stood, walked around the table, pulled Daniel into a hug, fierce, wordless. He held her back, one hand in her hair, the other on her back. They stayed like that a long moment. When she pulled away, she looked at Cassidy. Cassidy stood too, walked to him, hugged him hard. Daniel wrapped both arms around her, kissed the top of her head. "I'm here," he said quietly. "Every day, every night." I'm here. Cassidy nodded against his chest, couldn't speak. Eleanor wiped her eyes, smiled, shaky, bright. That's the best birthday present you could have given us. Daniel's mouth curved just a fraction. Figured it was time. They sat back down. The kitchen felt warmer, lighter. Eleanor glanced out the window. Speaking of changes, Carla moved out last month, back to Ohio, her parents' house. Couldn't stay here after everything. Cassidy looked across the street. The house looked the same porch chair, same curtains. But a young couple had moved in 2 weeks ago. Lieutenant and his wife. New baby. They waved sometimes. It felt strange. Eleanor continued softly. She calls every couple weeks. Says Ohio's quiet. Good for her. But she misses the street. Misses us. Daniel nodded. We'll visit when we can. Cassidy stared at the empty house across the way. Yeah, she said quietly. We will. The morning stretched on. Pancakes finished. Dishes done. Daniel went outside to check the Jeep. Eleanor pulled Cassidy into a side hug in the kitchen. 15, she whispered. And your dad's staying. Cassidy leaned into her. Feels like a miracle. Eleanor kissed her temple. It is. Outside, a raven landed on the fence post. Black wings folded, head cocked. It watched the kitchen window. Cassidy didn't see it, but the stir inside her felt it, quiet, patient, still waiting. But for the first time in months, it felt farther away, because the house was full again, and Daniel was staying. Chapter 17. 16 Wheels and a Target. Late April on Fort Bragg felt like the world had finally exhaled. Dogwoods bloomed white along the streets, pollen dusted every surface, and the air carried that first real promise of summer, warm, green, alive. Cassidy was 15, officially now, and the house had found a new normal. Daniel came home every afternoon at 16:30 from the SOF schoolhouse, where he taught small unit tactics and CQB to the next cycle of candidates. He still cleaned his gear, still polished boots. But he cooked dinner twice a week and sat on the porch with Eleanor watching the streetlights come on. The guilt hadn't vanished, but it had dulled to something he could carry without breaking. Cassidy had her learner's permit. Driver's ed had started 2 weeks earlier, 3 nights a week at the On-Post Education Centre. Classroom first, then range time in a beat-up Ford Taurus with a second brake pedal. Mr. Reynolds, retired E7, no nonsense, never smiled, but he was patient. Foot on the brake, start the engine, mirrors, signal, check blind spot, go. She'd driven 3 laps around the lot that first night. No lurching, no panic. Mr. Reynolds gave one nod. Not bad, Morrigan. You're not going to kill anybody today. High praise. At school, Jack Britt High, junior year was the usual grind. Cassidy kept to herself. Good grades, no drama. Lunch in the library most days, notebook open, sketching in the margins. One Wednesday in early May she saw the flyer, tacked to the bulletin board outside the guidance office, bright yellow paper, bold black letters. Youth post, pistol team tryouts, ages 14 to 18. Sponsored by Fort Bragg Rod and Gun Club Summer League. Practices start May 15th. Range time, instruction, competition. First meeting. May 10th, 16:30 hours. Contact SFC Daniel Morrigan. Instructor advisor. Cassidy stared at it. SFC Mazda, Maintenance Battalion. Dad knew him, called him Maz when they ran into each other at the PX or the range. Smartass, always had a quick comeback, but good guy. Solid. She tore the flyer off the board, folded it, put it in her pocket. That night at dinner, grilled chicken, rice, salad she'd chopped, she waited until Daniel was done eating. Dad? He looked up. Yeah? She pulled the flyer out, set it on the table. There's a youth pistol team, Rod and Gun Club, Summer League. SFC Mazda is the advisor. Daniel glanced at the paper, nodded once. Maz. Good dude. Smart ass, but he knows his stuff. Won't let you get lazy on the range. Cassidy met his eyes. I want to try out. Elena looked between them. You sure? Cassidy nodded. I want to learn, and I want to be good at something. Daniel studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. First meeting's next week. Bring the flyer. Wear closed-toe shoes. No loose clothing. I'll get you the safety gear. Cassidy felt something light up inside her, small, bright, unfamiliar. Thanks. Daniel reached across the table, squeezed her hand once. You'll be fine. You've got steady hands. Eleanor smiled, soft, proud, and a good instructor. Daniel snorted. Maz'll keep her straight. He'll give her hell if she flinches. Cassidy laughed, real, soft. Slid the flyer back into her pocket. After dinner, she went to her room, pulled the fixed-blade knife from her belt loop, laid it on her desk beside the compass, looked at them both. She thought about the flyer, about the range, about standing on the line with a pistol in her hand, about being good at something that mattered. The next week unfolded in a steady, almost comforting rhythm, one that felt like breathing after holding your breath for too long. Monday driver's ed, night 1 on the road. Mr. Reynolds had them drive the perimeter of post, slow laps around the PX, past the main gate, through the housing areas. Cassidy got the wheel after the third kid. Her hands were steady this time. She signalled every turn, checked mirrors twice, eased off the gas when Reynolds grunted. Too fast. He didn't praise her, just said, better than last week, keep it up. She parked the Taurus without hitting the curb, felt the small victory settle in her chest like a warm stone. Tuesday school dragged, lunch in the library again. She pulled the pistol team flyer from her backpack and read it 3 times. SFC Darren Mazda. Dad had said he was good, smart-ass, but the kind that made you laugh instead of flinch. She folded it carefully and tucked it in her pocket like a secret. Wednesday driver's ed again. This time they did highway merges onto I-95. Cassidy's stomach knotted when she saw the on-ramp. Reynolds didn't coddle her. Accelerate smooth, signal, check mirror, blind spot, go. She did. The car slid into traffic without jerking. A semi roared past. She didn't flinch. Reynolds gave one nod. Not bad, Morrigan. You're getting it. Thursday. The day before the pistol team meeting. Cassidy came home, dropped her backpack, went straight to the kitchen. Eleanor was chopping vegetables for dinner. Daniel was in the garage, cleaning tools. Cassidy leaned in the doorway. Dad? He looked up. Yeah? I'm going to the pistol team meeting tomorrow. 1630. Daniel wiped his hands on a rag. Good. Maz'll take care of you, just listen. Do what he says. No hot dogging. Cassidy nodded. I won't. He studied her for a second. You nervous? A little. He gave a small smile. That's normal. Means you care. Use it. Friday, 1630 hours. Fort Bragg Rod and Gun Club Range. Low brick building tucked behind the golf course. Smell of gun oil and fresh-cut grass. Cassidy walked in wearing closed-toe sneakers, jeans, hoodie zipped halfway. The flyer was folded in her pocket like a talisman. 10 other kids were already there, ages 14 to 18, mix of boys and girls, all dependents. Rifles and pistols laid out on tables, safety gear stacked. A tall, lean man in civvies, black polo, cargo pants, ball cap, stood at the front. Mid-30s, dark hair, easy posture. He looked up when Cassidy entered. You must be Morrigan's kid. Cassidy nodded. Cassidy. He grinned, quick, lopsided. Darren Mazda. Just call me Darren. None of that sergeant crap here. Makes me feel old. A couple kids laughed. The tension in the room loosened a notch. Darren clapped once. All right, listen up. This ain't boot camp. This is the youth pistol team. We shoot .22s and 9mm. We learn safety, stance, grip, trigger control, sight picture. We compete in local and regional matches. We have fun, but if you hot dog, show off, or point a muzzle anywhere it doesn't belong, you're gone. No second chances on safety. Clear? A chorus of yes, Darren. He pointed to the tables. Gear up. Eye pro, ear pro. Line up at the benches. We start with dry fire. No ammo yet. Just feel the gun. Cassidy picked a spot near the middle. Darren walked down the line, adjusting stances, fixing grips. When he reached her, he watched her pick up the .22 pistol, small, light black polymer frame. "First time?" he asked. She nodded. He stepped beside her. "Okay. Feet shoulder width, knees soft. Lean forward just a hair. 2 hands on the grip, strong hand high, support hand wrapped tight. Thumbs forward along the slide. Sight picture. Front sight sharp, target blurry. Trigger straight back. Slow squeeze, no jerk." He demonstrated once, slow, exaggerated, then watched her mimic it. She lifted the empty pistol, aligned the sights, finger on the trigger guard, squeezed. Darren nodded. "Not bad. You're steady. Most kids flinch first time. You didn't." Cassidy lowered the gun. "My dad taught me knife stuff. Guess it helps." Darren grinned. "Smart man, your dad. Tell him Maz says he owes me a beer for taking his kid off his hands." Cassidy laughed, small, surprised. Darren moved on down the line, cracking quiet jokes, disarming the nerves. When one boy's hands shook, Darren didn't call him out, just stepped in, adjusted the grip, said, "Breathe out slow. Gun's not going to bite you unless you let it." The boy exhaled, stopped shaking. By the end of the night, they'd run dry fire drills, loaded dummy rounds, practiced reloads. Cassidy's arms were tired, but her hands felt sure. Darren dismissed them at 1900. "Next week we go live. Bring your game face. And remember, no heroes, just shooters." Cassidy lingered while the others filed out. Darren noticed. "Something on your mind, Morrigan?" She hesitated. "Dad said you'd keep me straight." Darren laughed. Low, easy. "He's not wrong, but I'm not here to babysit. I'm here to teach you how to shoot straight so you never have to be scared of the gun, or anything else." Cassidy nodded. "I want to be good." "You will be," he said. "Just show up, listen, breathe. The rest comes." She smiled, small, real. "Thanks, Darren." He waved her off. "Get out of here before your dad thinks I kidnapped you." She walked home in the warm dusk. The raven on the fence post watched her go. She didn't see it, but the stir inside her did. Quiet, patient, still waiting. But tonight it felt like it could wait a little longer, because she'd held a gun for the first time. And her hands hadn't shaken. Chapter 18. Steady hands. April bled into May fast. The dogwoods dropped their petals, the pollen count climbed, and Fort Bragg felt like it was holding its breath before the full heat of summer. Cassidy's days settled into a simple pattern. School, driver's ed, pistol team, home. Driver's ed moved off the parking lot and onto real roads. Mr. Reynolds took them through Fayetteville, stop-and-go traffic, left turns on busy streets, merging onto I-95. Cassidy's hands stopped shaking after the first week. She passed every checkpoint. 3-point turn, parallel park, emergency stop. Mr. Reynolds signed her road test card on May 20th. "You're done," he said. "Don't make me regret it." She didn't smile, just nodded. But inside, something clicked. Freedom, small but real. Pistol team was the other anchor. Practices ran Tuesday and Thursday, 1630 to 1900, at the Rod and Gun Club range. Darren Mazda ran it with his usual mix of sarcasm and patience. "Finger off the trigger until your sights are on target," he'd say, pacing behind the line. "Unless you want to shoot the range officer, then by all means go ahead. I could use the vacation." Laughter every time. Tension gone. Cassidy started with .22 LR, small, light, forgiving. She moved to 9mm by early May. Her groups tightened fast. 4 inches at 25 yards became 3 inches, then 2.5. She didn't rush, didn't show off, just breathed, sighted, squeezed. Darren noticed. One Thursday in mid-May, after she ran a timed 10-shot string and put every round in the black, he walked over, looked at the target through binoculars, whistled low. "Morrigan," he said, "you're not just good, you're scary good." Cassidy lowered the pistol, ejected the magazine, locked the slide back. Just focusing. Darren snorted. Focusing doesn't do that. Talent does. And I know your dad. Must be in the DNA. She gave a small smile. He'd say it's practice. He'd be lying, Darren said, grinning. Daniel's got the steadiest hands I've ever seen on a man. You got the same. Plus you listen. That's rare. He clapped her on the shoulder, light, encouraging. Keep it up. Regionals are coming in August. You're going to make people nervous. Cassidy felt the warmth of it settle in her chest. Dangerous felt like a compliment again. School wound down. Finals the second week of May. Cassidy studied at the kitchen table while Daniel cooked, and Elena graded papers from the library. She aced everything: history, math, English, biology. No fanfare, just quiet satisfaction. Last day was May 24th. Half day. Yearbooks signed in the halls, lockers cleaned out. She didn't linger, didn't care about the have-a-good summer hugs. She walked out the front doors at noon, backpack slung over one shoulder, and headed to the bus stop. Summer started that afternoon. No big plans, no trips, just the range, the Jeep with her learner's permit, and the quiet of the house. Daniel was home every evening now. He'd sit on the porch with Eleanor, watch the streetlights come on, talk low about nothing important. Cassidy would join them sometimes, sit on the steps, listen. One night in late May, Daniel looked at her across the porch railing. You did good this year, he said. School, driving, range, all of it. Cassidy shrugged. Just did what I had to. He shook his head. You did more than that. You stayed steady. That's harder than people think. She looked down at her hands. The calluses from the pistol grip were faint but there. Thanks, she said quietly. He nodded once. Daniel took a slow sip from his water bottle, looked at Cassidy. You ever hear me talk about Robin Sage? He asked. Cassidy turned her head. A little. The big final exercise for Special Forces guys, right? In the woods. Pineland or something. He nodded. Yeah. Unconventional warfare. Infiltration. Link-ups with guerrillas. Raids. The whole thing. It's the last gate before they get the Green Beret. She waited. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, bottle dangling between his fingers. I'm taking a group of candidates out later this month. 2 weeks in Uehari. I'm on the cadre this time. Support and oversight. Not leading a team, just making sure the kids don't get themselves killed. Cassidy's pulse ticked up. You want me to come? Daniel looked at her, really looked. If you want. Not the full exercise. 1 week. You'd play a role player, guerrilla fighter, civilian contact, whatever they need. Nothing dangerous. No weapons, no live fire. Just acting, watching, learning how it actually works. She stared at the yard. Fireflies. The raven on the fence post across the street, head cocked, watching them. The stir inside her moved. Slow, curious, almost eager. 1 week? She asked. 1 week, he confirmed. You'd be in and out before your first pistol competition. I checked the schedule. Regionals are the following weekend. You won't miss it. Cassidy thought about it. Really thought. The range. Darren's team. The way the pistol felt in her hand. The competition she'd been training for since May. But also the pull of something bigger. Something Dad did. Something that felt like it was already inside her. I want to go, she said. Daniel studied her face. It's not glamorous. Long days, little sleep, bugs, mud. Role players get captured, interrogated, moved around. You'll be cold, tired, hungry, and you'll have to stay in character. No breaking kayfabe. I can do that, he nodded slowly. Then you're in. I'll get you cleared with the S3. You'll be listed as a civilian role player, dependent observer. No rank, no weapon, just eyes and ears. Cassidy felt the stir inside her move, stronger now but not scary, just awake. Thanks, Dad. He reached down, ruffled her hair, gentle the way he used to when she was small. Pack light, boots, long sleeves, bug spray, no attitude. She smiled, small, real. No promises. He laughed, low, rough, the sound she hadn't heard in a long time. They sat a while longer. Fireflies, streetlights, the ravens still watching. Cassidy felt the stir again, stronger now but not threatening. Just awake. Like it knew something was coming, and for the first time she didn't push it away. Chapter 19. Match Day Prep. The first week of June felt like the calm before the storm. School had ended 2 weeks earlier. No finals left, no homework, just the long stretch of summer ahead. Cassidy spent the mornings sleeping in, the afternoons at the Rod and Gun Club range with the pistol team, and the evenings helping Elena in the garden or sitting on the porch with Daniel while he cleaned his gear. The regional pistol competition was 4 weeks away. Darren had been ramping up the intensity for 3 practices now: timed drills, stress shoots, weak hand only, reload under pressure. But tonight was different. He'd told them at the previous session. Thursday we run the match course. Full setup. Same distances. Same targets. Same time limits. Treat it like the real thing. No excuses. No do-overs. Cassidy arrived at 16:30 sharp. Closed-toe sneakers, jeans, hoodie zipped halfway. The fixed blade knife and compass were clipped inside her waistband under the fabric. Habit now, not necessity. She carried her range bag, eye pro, ear pro, 9mm pistol, borrowed from the club armory, 3 magazines, and a box of 115 grain FMJ. Darren was already on the line. He'd transformed the indoor range. The usual 25-yard line had been reset to mimic the competition layout. 7 lanes, each with a different stage. Steel poppers at 10 yards, paper silhouettes at 15 and 25, barricades for cover, a low table for reloads. Red and white tape marked shooting positions. A timer box sat on a tripod at the end of the line, ready to beep. The other kids filtered in, 16 total, same core group. Nervous energy buzzed. Darren waited until everyone was geared up and quiet. "Listen up," he said, pacing slow. "This is the match course. 7 stages, 40 rounds total. Time limits per stage. Points down for misses, penalties for procedural errors. No alibis. No reshoot. This is how it'll feel in 4 weeks. Heart pounding, hands sweaty, clock running. You either handle it or you don't." He stopped in front of them, grinned. "But here's the deal. I'm not your enemy tonight. The clock is. The target is. Your own head is. I'm just the guy who's going to tell you when you screw up and how to fix it. Clear?" "Clear, Darren." He nodded. "Good. Lane assignments are posted. Stage 1 is up first. We run 1 shooter at a time. Everyone else watches. Learn from the mistakes. Cheer the good shots. No trash talk. Let's go." They started with Stage 1, a simple 10-round string at 15 yards, standing unsupported, reload at 5 rounds. The timer beeped. The first shooter, Tommy 17, cocky, stepped up. He rushed the reload, dropped a round. Darren called stop. Reset. Tommy ran it again, better but still slow. Darren walked him through it, quiet, no mockery. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. You rush the reload because you are thinking about the timer. Think about the motion instead. Try again. Tommy did, dropped half a second. Darren gave him a nod. "There you go." Cassidy was lane 4. She watched the first 3 shooters. Noted the mistakes. Flinching on recoil, riding the trigger, poor stance. She adjusted mentally before her turn. When Darren called her name, she stepped up. "Ready position," he said. She raised the pistol, 2 hands, high grip, thumbs forward, sight picture sharp, trigger finger straight along the frame. "Stand by." Beep. She fired 5 rounds, controlled pairs, front sight clear, trigger press, smooth. Reload, drop magazine, insert new one, rack slide. 5 more rounds. All in the black. Time, 8.2 seconds. Darren looked at the timer, looked at the target, looked at her. Not bad, Morrigan. Not bad at all. The other kids clapped, quiet but real. Cassidy stepped back, magazine out, slide locked. Heart pounding but steady. Darren walked over, looked at her target again. Every round in the A zone, he said. No flyers. Reload clean. You didn't rush. You didn't flinch. You shot like you've done it 1,000 times. Cassidy shrugged. Practice. Darren laughed. Low, genuine. Practice helps, but talent gets you the rest of the way. She smiled, small, proud. He clapped her on the shoulder. Keep that head cool. You're going to smoke regionals. The rest of the practice ran the same way, stage after stage, barricade shoots, movement drills, strong hand only, weak hand only. Cassidy ran every stage clean, no penalties, no misses. When it ended at 1900, Darren dismissed them. Next week we add stress, run in place, then shoot, bring your A game. And Morrigan? She looked up. Good work tonight, he said. Real good. Cassidy walked home in the warm dusk. The raven on the fence post watched her go. Chapter 20. Pineland Prep. The week after Daniel's offer on the porch passed in a quiet, purposeful blur. Cassidy woke early most mornings. Habit now. She packed in small stages, sturdy boots, long-sleeve shirts, dark greens and browns, cargo pants, a lightweight rain jacket, wool socks, a beanie for night cold, bug spray, sunscreen, a small notebook and pen, for intel notes in character, a headlamp, red lens only, and a hydration bladder. No phone, rules were clear. No knife or compass either. They were too personal, too real world. She'd leave them at home. Daniel walked her through the kit every evening after dinner. Layer, he said, spreading her clothes on the living room floor. Base layer wicks sweat. Mid layer insulates. Outer layer cuts wind and rain. You get wet, you stay cold. You stay cold, you get slow. Slow gets you caught. Cassidy nodded, folding each piece as he spoke. He handed her a small first aid kit, bandages, ibuprofen, moleskin for blisters, antiseptic wipes. Blisters are the enemy. Treat them early. Ignore them. They'll ruin your week. Eleanor watched from the doorway, arms crossed, face tight. She didn't interrupt, but her eyes followed every item going into the pack. When Daniel finished, he zipped the bag. Looked at Cassidy. You'll be with the support team. Safe distance. No live fire. No real risk. But you still follow the rules. Stay in character. Don't break kayfabe. If they capture you, you play along. No panicking. No fighting back. Just act. Cassidy met his eyes. I can do that. He studied her. I know you can. But it's different when it's real. The waiting. The uncertainty. The way the dark feels closer when you're alone in the woods. She swallowed. I'm not scared. You will be, he said quietly. And that's okay. Fear keeps you sharp. Just don't let it own you. Eleanor stepped into the room then, voice soft. When do you leave? Next Monday, Daniel said. Drop off at 0800. 1 week. She's back the following Monday. Elena looked at Cassidy. You sure? Cassidy nodded. I want to see it. I want to know what Dad does. Eleanor's eyes filled, but she blinked it away. Then pack extra socks, and call me if you need me. Cassidy smiled, small, reassuring. I will. The weekend before, Daniel took her to Uharry for a dry run. No candidates yet, just cadre showing her the terrain, the link-up points, the safe zones. She walked trails, memorized landmarks, practiced simple phrases in character. The eagle flies at midnight. I have a message from the resistance. She felt ridiculous at first. Then she didn't. The stir inside her liked it, liked the game, liked the pretending. Sunday night she laid out her pack one last time, checked every zipper, every strap. Elena came in, sat on the edge of the bed. You don't have to do this, she said quietly. I know. Elena reached over, touched the compass on Cassidy's desk. Your dad gave this to you for a reason, she said, so you'd always find your way home. Cassidy looked at her. I will. Eleanor pulled her into a hug, long, tight, the way she did when words weren't enough. Be safe, she whispered. Come back to me. I will, Mom. Eleanor held on a moment longer, then let go. Daniel appeared in the doorway. Ready? Cassidy zipped the pack. Stood. Ready. He nodded once. Monday morning, 0800, they drove west. Eleanor in the passenger seat, Cassidy in the back with her ruck. The staging area was a remote parking lot near U Hurry. Gravel, a few military trucks, cadre in multicam. A sergeant checked her ID, handed her a role-player armband, green, with gorilla stenciled in white. Daniel looked at her one last time. Stay sharp, he said. Stay quiet. Stay alive. She nodded. See you in a week. He squeezed her shoulder. See you in a week. Then she stepped into the woods with the other role players. The exercise began, and the stir inside her opened its eyes. Wide, awake, ready. Chapter 21. Week in Pineland. The first night was cold. Cassidy had expected it. Daniel had drilled her on layering, but the reality hit different. The temperature dropped fast after sunset, the kind of cold that seeped through clothes and settled in your bones. She was Lena, a civilian courier for the Pineland Resistance. Her job was simple: carry coded messages between guerrilla cells, avoid OP4 patrols, stay in character. No weapons, no rank, just a canvas satchel, a canteen, and the armband on her sleeve. The support cell dropped her at 2,100 with 2 cadre members acting as escorts. They hiked in silence for 40 minutes, dark trail, red lens headlamps, boots soft on pine needles. No talking unless necessary. The stir inside her was loud now. Not loud like fear, but loud like a second heartbeat. It liked the dark, liked the quiet, liked the way the woods felt alive around her. They reached the first link-up point, a small clearing near a creek. The cadres signaled her forward. Wait here, one whispered. They'll use the password, you reply. Hand off the message, then fade. Cassidy nodded. They melted back into the trees. She crouched behind a fallen log, satchel against her chest. Heart steady, breathing slow. The stir felt almost calm, like it was finally in its element. 20 minutes later, movement. 3 shadows emerged, special forces candidates, faces blackened, moving low. They stopped at the edge of the clearing. The eagle flies at midnight, one said, voice low. Cassidy stepped out, slow, hands visible. Only if the moon is full, she replied. They approached. She handed over the folded message. The leader read it by red light, nodded once. No names, no small talk. They disappeared back the way they came. Cassidy waited 5 minutes, then hiked back to the support camp. No drama, no capture, just clean execution. Daniel was waiting when she returned. He was standing by the fire, multicam jacket, clipboard in hand, eyes scanning her as she walked in. You good? He asked. She nodded. Link up clean. Message delivered. No issues. He studied her face, mud on her cheek, leaves in her hair, but steady eyes. You look like you belong out there, he said quietly. Cassidy shrugged. It felt right. He didn't answer right away, just looked at her like he was seeing something new. Get some food, he said. Rest, tomorrow's longer. She ate an MRE sitting by the fire. Daniel sat across from her, clipboard forgotten. You feel anything? He asked. Careful, low. She looked at him. Like what? Like something paying attention inside you. Cassidy stared into the flames. Yeah. It's been there a while. Tonight it felt closer, like it was watching with me. Daniel exhaled slowly. I thought it might. She looked up. You know what it is? He shook his head. Not exactly. But I've seen things, felt things. When you're out here long enough, the line between you and the dark gets thin. Sometimes it leaves a mark. Sometimes the mark leaves something behind. Cassidy swallowed. Is it bad? Not bad, he said. Just powerful. Dangerous if you don't respect it. Useful if you do. She nodded slowly. I want to respect it. Daniel reached across the fire, squeezed her hand once. Then we'll figure it out. Together. The rest of the week was a blur of movement. Day 2. She carried a resupply message through the woods at night, got turned around once, found her way back using the stars and landmarks she'd memorized. Daniel checked on her at 0400, found her sitting by the fire writing notes. Lost? He asked. Only for a minute, she said. He gave a small smile. Good, that's how you learn. Day 3. Captured by an OPFOR patrol. Blindfolded, zip-tied, loose, moved to a mock detention site. Interrogated. Basic questions, no real threats. She stayed in character, scared civilian, didn't know anything useful. They let her go after 20 minutes. Daniel found her after, checked her wrists for marks. You okay? He asked. She nodded. It was weird, but I didn't panic. He looked proud. That's my girl. Day 4. She watched a raid from a safe overlook. Candidates assaulted a mock enemy outpost. Blank rounds, pyrotechnics, controlled chaos. She lay prone behind a log, binoculars to her eyes, heart pounding in her ears. The stir felt alive, thrumming, almost joyful. Day 5. Quiet day. Helped cache supplies. Learned how to hide a drop point so it looked natural. Daniel sat with her while she ate. Didn't talk about Mike, didn't talk about guilt, just sat. Father and daughter in the woods sharing silence. Day 6, last full day, ran a short courier route, hand-delivered a message to another guerrilla cell. No incidents. Clean run. That night, Daniel came to the camp. You're done tomorrow, he said. Back home by 1400. Cassidy looked up from her notebook. I liked it. He studied her. I know. She hesitated. Dad. I felt it again. Stronger. Like it was helping me, guiding me. When I got turned around the other night, it was like something pointed me the right way. Daniel went still. When we get home, he said, we'll talk about it. Really talk. Okay? She nodded. Okay. He stood, squeezed her shoulder once. Get some sleep. You've earned it. He walked back to his truck. Cassidy watched him go. The raven landed on a branch above the fire. Black wings folded, head cocked. She saw it this time. Didn't flinch, just stared back. The stir inside her stared too, awake, ready, waiting for her to decide what came next. Chapter 22. The Road Home. The last day in Pineland was quiet. No big missions, no night movements, just clean up, striking caches, walking back trails to erase signs of use, handing off final messages to the support cell. Cassidy spent most of it sitting by the fire with the other role players, notebook open, writing down everything she'd seen, how the candidates moved, how they talked, how they breathed under pressure. She didn't realize she was doing it until one of the cadre NCOs looked over her shoulder. You write like a scout, he said. Most kids just want to sleep. Cassidy closed the notebook. I want to remember. He nodded once. Smart. Daniel came by at 1300. He was in multicam, clipboard under his arm, but he didn't look like cadre today. He looked like Dad. Time to go, he said. Cassidy stood, slinged her ruck, looked around the camp one last time, the fire pit, the hidden cache markers, the trails she'd walked every day for a week. She felt the stir settle. Calm now, almost content. Like it had learned something too. Daniel walked her to the staging lot. No goodbye hug in front of the cadre. Just a quick shoulder squeeze. You did good, he said. Better than good. She nodded. Thanks for letting me come. He looked at her. Really looked. You're welcome. Now go home to your mom. She's been counting days. Cassidy smiled, small, tired. See you in a week? See you in a week, he echoed. A black SUV waited, same driver from drop-off. Cassidy climbed in the back. Daniel watched until the vehicle disappeared around the bend. The drive back to Fort Bragg took an hour and 10 minutes. Cassidy stared out the window the whole way. Pines gave way to highways, highways to base gates. She didn't speak. The driver didn't push. Elena was waiting at the main gate parking lot, Jeep idling, hazard lights on. When the SUV stopped, she stepped out fast. Cassidy opened the door before it fully rolled to a halt. Elena met her halfway. No words at first, just arms around each other, tight, fierce, like they'd both been holding their breath for 7 days. Eleanor pulled back first, looked Cassidy over, mud on her boots, leaves in her hair, face tanned darker from sun and dirt. "You okay?" she asked. Cassidy nodded. "Yeah, I'm okay." Eleanor's eyes filled. She brushed a smudge from Cassidy's cheek. "Come on, let's get you home." They transferred the ruck to the Jeep. Cassidy sat in the passenger seat. Eleanor drove. The first 10 minutes were quiet. Then Eleanor spoke. "Tell me one thing," she said. "Just one thing you saw that mattered." Cassidy thought for a moment. "They moved like shadows," she said. "Not fast, not loud, just sure, like they knew where every step was going before they took it." Eleanor glanced over. "Sounds like your dad." Cassidy nodded. "It did." They drove the rest of the way in comfortable silence. The base gates opened. Familiar streets rolled past. The house came into view, porch light on, even though it was still daylight. Elena parked, turned off the engine. Cassidy didn't move right away. "Mom?" "Yeah?" It felt right, being out there. Like something in me already knew how to do it. Elena looked at her, long, searching. "You're growing up fast, baby." Cassidy gave a small smile. "I think I've been growing up for a while." Eleanor reached over, squeezed her hand. "Let's get you inside. Shower, food, sleep. We'll talk more when you're ready." Cassidy nodded. They walked up the steps together. The raven on the fence post watched them go inside. It didn't move. The stir inside Cassidy watched back, awake, ready, but patient. For now. Chapter 23. The Week Home. The house felt different when Cassidy walked through the door. Daniel was still in Harry for another week, finishing cadre duties with the Robin Sage cycle. The porch light was on, the kitchen smelled like fresh coffee and something baking, but the garage door stayed closed. No gear laid out on the workbench, no low voice asking if she'd eaten. "You're home," Eleanor whispered against Cassidy's hair. Cassidy nodded into her shoulder. "I'm home." "You look taller," Eleanor said, half laughing, half crying. Cassidy gave a tired smile. "I feel taller." Eleanor took the ruck from her shoulder. "Come inside. Shower first, then food, then you can tell me everything." The shower was long and hot. Cassidy stood under the spray until the water ran cold, letting the dirt and sweat and pine sap swirl down the drain. She dried off, pulled on clean sweats and her favourite hoodie, left the knife and compass on her nightstand. They felt heavier now, like they'd absorbed something from the woods. Downstairs, Elena had set the table. Chicken noodle soup, from scratch, grilled cheese cut diagonal, a glass of milk, simple, comforting. Cassidy sat, ate slowly. The soup tasted like home. Eleanor sat across from her, didn't push, just waited. When the bowl was empty, Cassidy spoke. "It was real," she said. "Not like the range, not like the woods with Dad that time. This was bigger, darker. But I didn't hate it. I liked it. I liked being useful. I liked watching them move. I liked staying in character. I liked feeling the stir. Help me." Elena's eyes softened. "The stir?" Cassidy nodded. "It's been there since, I don't know, before. But out there it felt like it was paying attention. Like it was learning with me." Eleanor reached across the table, took her hand. "You're safe now," she said. "And you're home." Cassidy squeezed back. "I know." After dinner, Eleanor cleared the table. Cassidy went upstairs. Her ruck sat in the corner like an accusation. She unzipped it, pulled everything out: boots, clothes, poncho liner, canteen, headlamp. Mud still caked on the soles, pine needles in the seams. The smell of wood smoke and damp earth filled the room. She didn't wait for Daniel. She carried the gear to the garage herself. The workbench was clean, Daniel's tools put away, but the space still smelled like gun oil and metal. She laid everything out like he'd taught her. Boots first, then clothes, then hard items. She started with the boots, scrubbed the soles with a stiff brush, wiped the uppers with a damp cloth, let them air dry on newspaper, then the clothes, pants, shirts, socks. She shook them out over the trash can, brushed off dirt, checked seams for ticks, hand-washed the small stuff in the utility sink, hung them on the line in the backyard even though it was dark, the canteen, headlamp, notebook. She wiped the canteen with a rag, checked the headlamp batteries, flipped through the notebook, pages filled with her small, neat handwriting, passwords, landmarks, phrases, observations about how the candidates moved, how they breathed, how they scanned. She didn't read it all, just closed it, put it on the shelf with her other notebooks. When everything was clean, she stood back. The gear looked different now. Not new, not shiny, used, broken in. Hers. She felt the stir again, quiet, satisfied, like it approved. Eleanor came to the garage door, leaned against the frame. "You didn't have to do that tonight," she said softly. Cassidy looked at her. "I wanted to. Dad always cleans his gear when he gets back. I figured I should too." Eleanor smiled, tired, proud. "Come inside when you're done. I made cookies." Cassidy nodded. "In a minute?" Eleanor left the light on. Cassidy stood there a little longer. The Raven landed on the garage roof, black wings folded, head cocked. Chapter 24. Home and Targets. Daniel came home on a Sunday evening in early June. Cassidy heard the Jeep before she saw it, the familiar low rumble turning onto their street. She was in the living room, cleaning the 9mm pistol she'd checked out from the range armory for practice. Elena was in the kitchen stirring something that smelled like chili. The front door opened. Daniel stepped in. OCPs still on, go bags slung over one shoulder, face lined with the kind of tired that only field time leaves behind. But when he saw them, something in his eyes softened. Elena was there first. She crossed the room in 3 steps and wrapped her arms around him. He dropped the bag, held her back, long, silent, like he was making sure she was real. Cassidy stood slowly, set the pistol down on the coffee table, magazine out, slide locked, safety on, range rules even at home. Daniel looked over Elena's shoulder. "Hey, kid." Cassidy walked to him, hugged him from the side while Elena still held on. He wrapped one arm around both of them. "Missed you," he said, voice rough, quiet. "Missed you too," Cassidy whispered. Eleanor pulled back first, looked up at him. "You're home." "I'm home." They didn't say anything else for a minute, just stood there. 3 people, 1 house, the weight of the last week easing off their shoulders. Daniel finally stepped back, looked at the pistol on the table. "Range gun?" Cassidy nodded. "Darren let me check it out. Practicing for regionals." Daniel's mouth curved just a fraction. "Good. You ready?" "Getting there." He nodded once. "Tomorrow's the big day." "Yeah." Eleanor squeezed his hand. "Dinner's almost ready. Shower, change. Then we eat." Daniel looked at her, grateful, tired, home. "Okay." He showered, changed into sweats and a t-shirt. Came back downstairs smelling like soap and home. They ate at the table, chili, cornbread, salad. Simple, warm, normal. Daniel ate slowly. Told them a few stories from the exercise, not the classified parts, just the small ones. A candidate who tripped into a creek, a role player who overacted so hard he almost broke character laughing. Cassidy listened, laughed when he wanted her to, but she didn't talk much about her own week, not yet. After dinner, Daniel cleared the table. Cassidy went upstairs to lay out her competition gear. Jeans, closed-toe sneakers, hoodie, range bag, pistol case, ear pro, eye pro, 3 magazines, ammo box. She checked everything twice. Downstairs, Daniel and Eleanor talked low in the kitchen. Cassidy could hear the murmur of their voices, comforting, familiar. She went to bed early, set her alarm for 5:30. Sleep came slow. The raven landed on the fence post outside her window. Black wings folded, head cocked. She didn't see it, but the stir inside her did. Awake, ready, waiting for tomorrow, the next morning. 0530 came sharp. Cassidy was up before the alarm, dressed in layers, long-sleeved tee, hoodie, jeans, sneakers, hair in a tight ponytail, compass and knife clipped inside her waistband, range bag packed the night before. Elena was already in the kitchen, coffee brewing, toast ready. She hugged Cassidy the moment she walked in. "You've got this," she said. Cassidy hugged back. "I know." Daniel came down at 0545, dress casual, polo and jeans, but boots polished. He looked at her gear. "Loaded mags?" "Yes." "Ear Pro?" "Yes." He nodded once. "Good. Let's go." They drove to the Rod and Gun Club in the Jeep, sun just coming up, sky pale pink, no traffic. The range parking lot was already half full. Other teams, parents, coaches. Darren stood near the sign-in table, clipboard in hand, coffee in the other. He saw Cassidy and grinned. "Morrigan, you ready to make some people cry?" Cassidy smiled, small, steady. "Ready, Darren." He clapped her on the shoulder. "Good. Sign in. Warm up on the line. We start at 800. She signed her name, walked to the warm-up area. Other teams were already there. Older kids from Bragg, some from Pope AFB, a few from Fort Jackson. Some looked confident, some looked like they were going to throw up. Cassidy found an empty lane, set up her gear, dry-fired a few times, stance, grip, sight picture, trigger press, slow, smooth. Darren walked over, watched her for a minute. "Stance is solid," he said. "Grip is high. Trigger finger discipline is good. You're breathing right. Just remember, the match is not about speed. It's about control under pressure. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast." Cassidy nodded. "Slow is smooth." Darren clapped her on the shoulder. "You've got this. Go make your dad proud." The match started at 800. 7 stages, 40 rounds, time limits, points down for misses, penalties for procedural errors. Stage 1, 10 rounds at 15 yards, standing unsupported, reload at 5. Cassidy stepped up. Heart steady, raised the pistol, sight picture sharp. Trigger press smooth. 10 rounds in the A zone, reload clean, time 7.9 seconds. Darren from the sidelines. "That's it, Morrigan. Keep it coming." Stage 2, 8 rounds, barricade, strong hand only from cover. She leaned into the barricade, strong hand high, trigger straight back, 8 in the black, no penalties. Stage 3, movement drill, run 10 yards, stop, fire 6 rounds at 10 yards. She ran, stopped, stance, sight, trigger, 6 rounds, 5 in the A zone, 1 just outside. Small points down but clean run. Stage 4, weak hand only, 10 rounds at 15 yards. Harder. Grip felt awkward, but she breathed, focused. 10 rounds, 8 in the A zone, 2 C zone, still solid. Darren yelled from the side, "Nice recovery! Weak hands tough. You didn't let it rattle you." Stage 5, barricade transition, strong to weak hand, 8 rounds. She switched hands mid-string, smooth, 8 in the black. Stage 6, low ready to target, 6 rounds, 10 yards. Fast draw, controlled fire, all 6 in the A zone. Stage 7, final stage, 15 rounds, multiple targets, reloads, movement. This was the one. Heart pounding now. She ran the course. Engage left target, reload, move to right barricade, engage center, reload, finish strong. 20 seconds flat, 13 in the A zone, 2 C zone, no misses, no procedural penalties. She lowered the pistol, locked the slide, stepped off the line. Darren walked over, looked at the score sheet. He whistled low. "Second place overall," he said. "First in your age group. You beat kids 3 years older. Clean runs on 6 stages. Only 1 stage with minor points down. That's not beginner shooting, Morrigan." That's talent. Cassidy felt her face heat up. I just did what we practiced. Darren grinned. You did more than that. You stayed cool under the clock. That's what wins matches. The awards ceremony was quick, medals handed out on the range line. Cassidy stood on the podium for her age group, gold medal around her neck. She looked up at the bleachers, Daniel and Elena standing, clapping. Daniel's face was quiet pride. Elena's eyes were shining. After, Darren pulled her aside. You shot like you belonged, he said. Keep training like that. You'll be national level in a couple years. Cassidy looked at the medal. Thanks, Darren, for teaching me. He shrugged. You did the work. I just pointed the way. She smiled, walked back to her parents. Daniel hugged her first, tight, proud. You were steady, he said. That's what matters. Eleanor hugged her next, kissed her forehead. You were amazing, she whispered. They walked to the jeep together. Cassidy held the medal in her hand. The Raven watched from the fence line. She saw it this time. Didn't flinch, just stared back. The stir inside her stared too, awake, ready, waiting for the next step. Chapter 25. Summer Fade. The weeks after regionals passed like warm water, slow, steady, almost gentle. Cassidy's gold medal hung on the corkboard in her room beside a photo of her and Daniel at Jordan Lake, the summer before Mike died. She didn't look at it every day, but she knew it was there. Pistol team practices tapered off in July, once a week instead of 3. Darren shifted focus to fun shoots and maintenance drills. Season's over, he told them. Now we just stay sharp until next year. Cassidy still showed up every Thursday, still shot clean groups. Darren still called her scary good and still owed her dad a beer. Driver's ed was finished. She had her full license by July 1st. Daniel let her take the Jeep to the PX alone for the first time. She bought milk, bread, and a pack of gum she didn't need, just to feel the freedom of it. Daniel was home every evening. He cooked more, sat on the porch with Eleanor, watched Cassidy practice dry fire in the backyard with the Nerf gun. Sometimes he'd step out and adjust her stance. Gentle tap on the elbow, quiet, breathe out slow. She listened. She improved. Cassidy had her license now, full, unrestricted. She drove the Jeep to the PX for groceries, to the library to help Eleanor with returns, to the range for solo practice when the team wasn't meeting. She didn't speed, didn't show off, just drove like Daniel had taught her. Eyes up, smooth inputs, always scanning. The pistol team was on break after regionals. Darren had told them to stay sharp but don't burn out. Cassidy still went to the range twice a week, dry fire in the backyard with the Nerf gun, live fire on quiet mornings when the club was empty. Her group stayed tight. Her breathing stayed slow. But the real pull now was the schoolhouse. Daniel had been teaching at the Special Operations Forces Schoolhouse since his reassignment. Small unit tactics, close quarters battle, land navigation, survival skills. He didn't talk about it much at home. Just came back smelling like gunpowder and sweat, showered, ate dinner, sat on the porch. One evening in late July, Cassidy asked, "Can I come watch you teach sometime?" Daniel paused mid-sip of water, looked at her. "It's not a spectator sport," he said. "It's candidates sweating through drills, instructors yelling corrections, sometimes things going sideways. Not pretty." "I know," she said. "I just want to see how you do it, how they learn." Eleanor looked up from her book on the couch, watched the exchange. Daniel studied Cassidy for a long moment. "Okay," he said finally. "One day. Observation only. You stay in the bleachers. No talking. No questions. No moving. You watch. That's it." Cassidy nodded. "Deal." The first time was a Tuesday in early August. Daniel drove her to the schoolhouse compound, chain-link fences, guard shack, low brick buildings labelled with unit designations. He showed his ID at the gate. The guard waved them through. He parked near the range area, led her to a set of metal bleachers overlooking the shoot house, a modular building with plywood walls, doors, windows, designed for CQB training. Sit here, he said. Don't move, don't wave, don't take pictures. I'll be down there. She nodded. He walked away, multicam uniform, clipboard in hand, stepping into the instructor role like flipping a switch. Cassidy sat. Below, 12 candidates, mostly young sergeants, some older, stood in a line. Daniel and 2 other instructors walked them through the day's drill. Room entry, pieing corners, clearing sectors, communicating threats, voice commands, hand signals, live fire with simunition rounds. Cassidy watched. She saw the candidates hesitate on the first run. Door kicked, muzzle up too high, corners missed. Daniel's voice carried clear across the range, calm but firm. Eyes up. Slow is smooth. You pie too fast, you die. Again. They ran it again. Better, still sloppy. Third run, clean. Daniel nodded once, moved to the next pair. Cassidy felt the stir inside her lean forward, like it was taking notes. She watched how Daniel corrected without yelling. Stepped in, adjusted a grip, demonstrated a stance, stepped back. How he praised quietly when something was right. How he never let ego get in the way. She watched for 2 hours. When the drill ended, Daniel walked up to the bleachers, sweat on his brow, dust on his boots. What did you see? He asked. Cassidy thought for a second. You don't teach them to be fast, she said. You teach them to be right. Then fast comes after. Daniel's mouth curved, just a fraction. That's it, he said. Speed without control is chaos. Control without speed is death. You find the balance. She looked at him. You're good at it. He shrugged. I've had practice. They drove home in silence, not uncomfortable, just full. The next week, he let her come again. Different drill, night navigation, land nav with compass and protractor. She sat in the bleachers under the floodlights, watched candidates' plot points, move through the dark, return with correct azimuths. She felt the compass on her belt loop warm slightly against her skin. She didn't tell him, but the stir noticed. A week later, another session. Medical evacuation drill. Candidates carrying wounded on litters, applying tourniquets, calling in 9-line medevac. Daniel oversaw, corrected, demonstrated. Cassidy watched him kneel beside a candidate, show how to pack a wound under pressure. She felt the stir again, calm, focused, learning. When he came up to the bleachers after, she asked, Do you ever miss it? The real thing? Daniel looked out at the range lights. Sometimes, he said. But I miss being home more. Cassidy nodded. They drove back as the stars came out. The raven followed from tree to tree along the road. She saw it in the side mirror. Didn't say anything. The stir watched back, awake, learning, waiting, but closer every day.